Hey Devi Aarti Mahima Yute Bhairavi Sada Ragla Padana Yuta Murte Sri Kurumam Tava Nisima Karuna Katakshe Savinayam Tava Pavana Mahashaktirupe Samarpanam. Savinayam Tava Pavana Mahashaktirupe Pushpam Samarpanam. Savinayam Tava Pavana Mahashaktirupe Tirtham Samarpanam. Savinayam Tava Pavana Mahashaktirupe Vastram Samarpanam. Savinayam Tava Pavana Mahashaktirupe Kumkumam Samarpanam. Savinayam Tava Pavana Mahashaktirupe Haridram Samarpanam. Savinayam Tava Pavana Mahashaktirupe Kusumam Samarpanam. Savinayam Tava Pavana Mahashaktirupe Naivedyam Samarpanam. Savinayam Tava Pavana Mahashaktirupe Chandanam samarpanam. Savinayam tava pavana mahashaktirupe navanitam samarpanam. Savinayam tava pavana mahashaktirupe patram samarpanam. Savinayam tava pavana mahashaktirupe Shri Parnam Samarpanam. Devi Aarti Mahima Yukta Bhairavi Sada Vaudra Vadana Yuta Murte Sri Kurumam Tava Nisima Karuna Katakshe Savinayam Tava Pavana Mahashaktirupe Samarpanam. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And today we're going to read from White Suffering from Sadhguru. It happened once. Lao Tzu went through a bad phase in life, where he was accused of all kinds of terrible things. But then, he regained his position in society as a wise man. So his fame spread around that he was considered among the wisest men in the whole country. One day the king got over-enthusiastic and said, "You're the wisest man in my country, so you must be the judge, the chief judge in our country." Lao Tzu said, "Are you sure? My wisdom and your interest may not be in the same line." No, you're the wisest man. Why will anything go wrong? It will be great to have you as a judge." And so Lao Tzu said, "Okay." The very first case was one of robbery. There was a servant who had been working in a rich man's house from childhood for a pittance. He had been bought as a bonded laborer 30 years earlier and was barely given anything except his food. One day he stole all the jewels in the house and escaped. The rich man complained to the authorities, who caught this guy and brought him to Lao Tzu's court for justice. The rich man abused the servant and said, "This fool, I brought him up right from childhood. He had nothing and I gave him everything. He would have died on the street, but I gave him everything. I brought him up, made a man out of him, and here he is stealing from me. You must give him the death sentence." After hearing both sides of the story, Lao Tzu passed his judgment, and he said, "This man, he must be allowed to keep half the jewels that he has stolen. The other half should go to the king's treasury, and the rich man should be put in prison for 10 years. Now the whole court was shell-shocked. They thought Lao Tzu was crazy, and immediately complained to the king, "Lao Tzu is out of his head. We bring a thief to him who is caught red-handed, but he gives him half the booty and the other half to the king's treasury, and puts the rich man who is the victim of the crime in prison for 10 years. The king was aghast. He called Lao Tzu and said, "What did you do? I thought you were a wise man." He said, "Yes. The thing is, this boy who has grown up there is like the son of that house. He may have been born elsewhere, but he was brought up in that house. Every day he saw all the riches around him, jewels and good food, this and that, everything around him, and he was never allowed to touch anything. As a result, he must have suffered a lot in those 30 years. He is a member of that house, but he was never allowed to touch anything or have anything. And so he did the right thing. He took the jewels and went, because it anyway belonged to him. He grew up in that house, but went without telling the owner. So I'm depriving him of half the jewels and putting that half in the king's treasury. As for this rich man, for committing such a crime of having a child in the house and tempting him with all those things every day and not giving him anything, we put him in the prison for 10 years. And Sadhguru says, if we were to go by this wisdom, do you know what would happen to the world?